Hi there to everyone. A great important venue this is. No need to give further introduction on that indeed. A well-known place. In the meantime, a program that is inviting you to take part in this occasion. And that has really become a very interesting program in a short span of time. What do you say, Sabrina?
Perfectly rightly worded, Victor. Of course, yes, did not expect that it would reach a certain pinnacle, basically reaching out to the entire corporate sector.
Yes.
So that is the key word that I would like to use, since reaching out to the corporate sector along with key personalities in Sri Lanka and bringing them all together to a platform where we discuss strategy, sustainability, how we can develop the economy, you name it, all the key areas are being covered right here through this program, which we air through Radio Sri Lanka, which says 11th hour indeed.
That's right. The 11th hour was really blessed with your great cooperation during the past our experience. So that has really paved a great important way for us to take this particular program to a different level. So we are having that important moment right now. The special edition of Learntha is taking place for 2 hours indeed at this venue. So yes, to say a big thanks to each and every personality who are really honoring this particular invitation and making your presence over here.
Certainly, yes. And we are revolving around this particular program to coincide with something also which is extremely very important, which is on the 8th of March, which is the International Women's Day. So I feel a little proud as well, Victor, because I, being a female, taking the forefront, trying my best to make a different kind of an impact through this program so that we can hear the real ideas, an idea which can be developed where we can strive to extend this economic turbulence in a way that we can all think as a true Sri Lankan.
That's right, as a true Sri Lankan. Indeed, the international celebrations on the topic of women is a great important achievement of sacrificed and committed efforts of the ladies that they really existed in our world. Particularly Clara, I should remind that name particularly, Clara, who really took the initiative in 1908, probably towards that end. Then again, 1909 is the period where Clara took the initiative just to suggest the world to make an important Women's Day celebration across the globe. So, ironically, for our luck, 11th hour is really having a little inclination towards this because 1911 is the year which was really blessed with the women's important celebration first time in the world. That is 1911. I'm talking about the 11. Right? And
that number.
That's right. And 2011 is the centenary celebration of this women's particular occasion. And right now, Sabrina is with us with 11th hour, addressing the same topic. Put your hands together for Sabrina.
Thank you so much. We are aware that education is an essential tool to empower women to gain confidence and achieve economic stability and success. Women's empowerment is important because it can lead to a range of positive outcomes, including increased economic growth and development, improved health and well-being, and greater gender equality. Lady Leader is an event that would connect corporate sector leading personalities to illustrate their sincere thoughts about the importance of empowering women for a sustainable economy while enriching a well-balanced society. Welcoming all of you once again, and let's get started with the formalities, that is the agenda. And how would you feel, Victor? We keep talking about this topic that is sympathy, empathy, but have you ever realized empathy in the corporate sector and within your working environment? How lovely that would be.
Absolutely, yes. Empathy, yes. When I feel something about empathy, I'm sure Sabrina agree with me, the personalities who are gracing this occasion have great notion on that fact. So I'm sure that you will be cooperating with us, interacting with us on that topic during the course of this program.
The lady who is going to address the gathering now did certainly empathize with me. She has left her luggage over there. She's supposed to take a flight shortly. She extended the duration of her traveling, particularly to make me feel happy. So she empathized with me. Over to Mimi Nicklin, the best-selling author, as well as the founder of Empathy Everywhere. Over to you.
Good morning. I'm extremely excited to be here on the way to the airport, as Sabrina said, to talk about something that is incredibly important, not just to women, but to the future, not just of Sri Lanka, but to the whole corporate world. My name's Mimi Nicklin, and I spend my time specializing in the conversation, as Sabrina so beautifully introduced, around empathy, around human understanding, and the empathy deficit that we have in our world. Now, this year's International Women's Day theme, according to the United Nations, is around embracing equity. I would like to be so bold to say that that's quite a long way away for many of the countries across the developing markets. So Asia and Africa is where I spend most of my time. We're on our way, the discussion's incredibly important, and the most important thing is that we're having that discussion. However, if we are going to get to true equity or even equality, we first need empathy. Now, what is empathy? Empathy is perspective taking. It is not an emotion. I get asked this all the time. Is empathy an emotion? Absolutely not. Empathy is our skill set in the way to be able to understand other people. So this is something that is built into your prefrontal cortex. It's built into your brain. We're all born with the ability to understand others. This is what we call a prosocial skill. It's an evolutionary skill. We cannot survive as human beings without understanding each other. And we don't do very well when we're alone. So this skill set is something we evolved to have so that you can understand each other, so that we can work together, so that we can collaborate. And Sabrina and I were lucky enough to have this discussion on 11th Hour just a few days ago to talk about all the business indicators that improve when there's higher empathy in the workplace. Because there is no business indicator that doesn't improve when there are higher levels of empathy. When we understand each other, we're able to communicate, collaborate, innovate, negotiate. These are skill sets that allow us to communicate as human beings, as business leaders, and of course in the forum today, as women and men that have to work together to better and grow the future of Sri Lanka. And let's be honest, after the 2 years we've had on the island, we all need as much potential to grow as possible. Now, if we're going to move towards equity, towards balance, empathy is the skill set that allows you to understand how and why. I believe that if we don't use our curiosity, our imagination, our skills to put ourselves in the shoes of someone else, how are you going to know what programs your women need? How are you going to know how they want to grow in communication or public speaking or confidence in the workplace? So often we're not asking the questions before we're acting. The intention is great. We are all here today and live on the radio when this show comes there to talk about these important topics. But if we don't first use our empathy, ask each other these questions, how do we know that we're doing the right things for Sri Lanka versus any other market, for the women that are here in the corporate sector creating change? Now, is empathy something that women have more than men? Absolutely not. And I want to use the show today to talk about that because it is a question that I get asked all the time. It is an assumption that women are better at empathizing than men. So people often ask me, but Mimi, don't you just have more empathy because you're female? And I say, absolutely not. There is no genetic or physiological difference between men and women. So when we're talking about the balance of gender in the workplace, there is no reason that we can't be having more of these conversations. As I said, you are born with empathy. It is a skill set. And the more you practice it, the better at using it you become, like any skill set. Like playing golf or cooking, the more you do it, the more sort of prone you come to using it. So this skill set is one that is changing the corporate world. When I started on this journey 3 years ago when I wrote my first book, this wasn't a discussion that was being had out there in the world. Today, if you Google empathy in the workplace, empathy and gender equality, empathy and productivity, you name it, you will find hundreds of pages of Google reviews, right? This is a trending topic. It's a topic that's changing our world already. And as I said at the very beginning, I believe that the path to equity, to equality, has to be through curiosity. We have to talk to each other if we are to understand each other. This year, in 2023, will be the year that listening leadership goes mainstream. The C-suite, the leadership teams of today have to hone their listening skills. This is the way to achieve more communication, more balance, more camaraderie in the workplace. And all of these things result directly into performance. And we're in a market where we need performance, right? We need to grow our way out of the crisis that we have been going through in the last 2 years. So these are not soft skills. These are hard skills. They're hard to find, they're hard to master, and they're hard to maintain. But they create business results. They balance humanism with capitalism, meaning that we grow our businesses whilst growing our people. So these are skill sets for the future. These fall within what I was mentioning earlier, this idea of listening leadership, which is shifting our organizations to becoming organizations where we can actually hear each other better. When we have small children, we teach them to listen all the time. Listen to mummy, listen to auntie, listen to uncle. Then they go to school, we stop telling them, we go to university and we come into the workplace, and then we wonder why we have an empathy deficit, because none of us are very adept at listening. So often, and I'm sure some of you listening to me today are actually in your mind thinking, did I leave the lunch on? What time do I have to pick up my daughter? Is my husband going to call the vet? All of these things. You are hearing me. Some of you are smiling at me in the audience, so I know it's true. You are hearing me, but you are not listening. Okay? These are the skill sets we need to hone. To truly hear people, to truly create change, we first have to listen. These are the skill sets that are going to change the world. And I want to end with a couple of examples of people that are doing this, because again, we're talking today about International Women's Day coming up on the 8th of March. We're talking about creating change for women, but we can't create change with 50% of us. And for the listeners tuning in today, there are many men in the audience as well, which is fantastic to see, because 50% of the world cannot change 100% of the world. So we have to work together to create this change. And I would like to encourage you to look at work, for example, of Satya Nadella, who is the CEO of Microsoft, who is one of the world's most famous empathy-led leaders. He recently, in the last few years, has returned $1 trillion to his stakeholders. So is this a question about putting people instead of profit? No. This is about putting our people beyond our profit. This is about growing as a nation together as the 100%, by understanding what we all need in order to thrive and not just survive in the workplace. It's time to train at large. These are skill sets you can learn, you can teach, you can prioritize in your teams for both genders, for all of us to be able to achieve as we go forwards. And I want to close by reminding us that we are all far more alike than we are different. Whatever the differentiator is, whether it's gender, whether it's race, whether it's nationality, whether it's your accent, we are all human. And at the end of the day, it is our empathy for each other that allows society to come together. When empathy is low, all of the isms are high, whether that's racism, genderism, ageism, all of them. We have a deficit in our world. There are segregations between us. If we are going to come together as that 100% to bring our women with us as part of all of us, we first have to recognize that we are doing this together. This is a two-way conversation. And I'm extremely proud that Sabrina asked me to come and open today to talk to you all, to talk to the 11th Hour show, and just perhaps bring one of those ideas that she mentioned in the introduction to your thinking today as you go through the content and wondering and asking yourself, am I listening? Will I listen? Are we all listening our way to change? So thank you very much for having me, and I hope to speak to you all again about a theme that is changing our world. Thank you.
That was excellent, Mimi Nicklin. It was really a great, important message that really touched my heart because the invitation for work together. Sabrina, I'm with you.
Certainly.
Yes. It gives a little proud as well because Sabrina was mentioning that she was so proud of being a woman to just bring about this particular topic as the world is preparing to celebrate on the 8th of this month, the World's Women's Day. In the meantime, after this speech of Mimi Nicklin, indeed, I feel a little proud.
And I feel like empathizing with everybody now.
That's great. Well
So
done.
that this working environment will change.
Change, absolutely. That is what we are expecting. That is what we are always inspiring through this program. 11th Hour continues with this special edition right here.
And while thanking Mimi Nicklin, once again wishing you a safe trip back.
And of
Underline the
course,
right
that
answer.
was a great, important message, what really we heard. And we have a couple of important messages to just share at this moment because with their blessings, we are having the comfort of bringing this particular edition of 11th Hour in this way. Particularly NDB Aurelia, the savings account that really brings many benefits to women. And of course, Lionco Mattress. Down the line in the history, they have proved their quality. Let's pursue in that particular message and the worthy product from Lionco Mattress. And CVL is indeed hand in hand helping us today to bringing about some valuable gifts for our guests. And in the meantime, Stone and String, we extend our thanks to you as well. And before that, I proceed along the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my duty to just extend my thanks to our chairman, Hudson Summers Singer, SLBC, who is really slated to just make a small note on this occasion due to unavoidable circumstances. He is really out of the premises at the moment. In the meantime, I extend my thanks to Mr. Nalin Nisankar, the Director General of SLBC. Thank you, sir, for your presence at this occasion. Sabrina?
Yes, for a change. Women's empowerment can be considered key for significant changes in society. So, I felt like starting the questioning session with a gent. My question is to Mr. Dan Gomez. Considerable attention has been directed towards the number of women at a board level in the corporate sector. How would you rate the current status of the gender equality as a ratio in an enterprise as of today?
I think it's really bad because all over the world, not even in Sri Lanka, men seems to have this superiority complex that they are far more better than women. Unfortunately, it's not so. I never believed in that even 30 years ago with my own experiences. Forget about being the board to bring that equality and the respect for women. Actually, when I went to Pandala with a joint venture of three-way, Victoria's Secrets, MAS Holdings, and Kotal's Textiles, I really didn't even understand the concept or this equality, before you thought about the board level. Let's start, although the question is directed towards me on the board level is far more insignificant than looking at the ground level. Because if the foundation is not strong, the board will always shake. So my first experience of when I went to Pandala as a young 30-year-old chief executive, running a multinational business for Victoria's Secrets and MAS Holdings, today being the largest and in 11 countries, the concept of doing at the foundation level was much more important. And first, to create a brand for women. It was always the Juki Kella, which people used to look down. When they get into the bus, Juki Kello. And it started with the free trade zones, etc., which had a very bad reputation. The first thing I needed to change was to change that concept. Gave them all T-shirts and brought in equality. We used to sit with them and have lunch in the chief executive and everybody in the same lunchroom and call them team members. The industry didn't like it. The shareholders didn't like it initially, but of course, with a visionary chairman like Deshamane Mahesh Amalian, he supported me to do it. So we started with that, and 30 years later, we saw the benefits of that and the concept going into the industry and the concepts going into the corporate world. Because initially, they thought I was too radical, getting into first name terms with women and changing and all that. Because in my younger days, I was more radical and more leftist. So I want to change. And it was a great opportunity of going there. So you started that. And the most important thing for men to respect, how do you get the colleagues to respect, is to bring women into sports. And women into men's sports, like boxing and rugby. The girls who won the Mercantile Championship when rugby started to women had never seen a rugby ball in their whole life. But I thought, no, we can do it. And we beat the Colombo John Keels and Metropolitans who competed and the Sri Lanka Army. The girls who had never seen a rugby ball. And then gave them boxing gloves. Today, we have a Commonwealth Games bronze medalist in Sri Lanka who's a woman. So she can take on any men and she can fight in the boxing ring. So it goes on to say, change the ground level and then the management level. And that was a much more task to change the mindset of the people. Women, needs sometimes confidence and training to achieve those successes. So they need mentorship. The reason in a very Sri Lankan world, it's other women who sometimes put a stop. Other women who puts their psychological barriers saying, I'm a wife first, I'm a mother first, so I can't be a corporate woman. I said you can balance, and men need to support. Like the earlier speaker who said, we need to support each other. And I'm a director of the International Boxing Federation representing 200 countries. I was the only male with the 20 women in the Women's Commission for 8 years. No man wanted to go there because we wanted to change. And today, women's boxing is given a same place at the Olympic Games as men's boxing. But it took nearly 8 years to break the barriers. So how do you break the barriers in Sri Lanka? How do you break the barriers in the world? By changing the concepts. And that is by sheer meritocracy and performance. Because there are far more women. Today we have many women who are chief executives, relatively than 20 years ago. We have most able women in leadership positions, and companies like MAS Holdings have a lot of directors and women. Even in my senior team, when I was the chief executive and a group director, it was virtually 40% was dominated by women. And they were much more tougher than men in my own team. So I would always say, I would stand up, and I believe in, women being more in the board, but we need to aggressive. Look at the corporate world in Sri Lanka. How many chief executives? I can only think Kasturi, which comes to my mind, but very few women. Why? It's his mindset. We need to change the mindset. And in sports, in corporate jobs, in everything. Because they do a greater contribution. Today, our biggest export earner is apparel. Nearly about $8 billion. And 90% of that comes through the sweat, grit, and courage of Sri Lankan women. So I appreciate it, and I will support it anytime. Thank you.
The global film industry, and not forgetting our local cinema industry, has witnessed a significant transformation. How do you see the female roles adding glitter to this beautiful industry? Along with you.
Thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for inviting me for this forum. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And I'd like to rephrase that question, actually. How can women add value to the film industry. And of course, with the global change, it has opened up many avenues for women in front of the camera as well as behind the camera to make a change. Women have been involved since its inception. But in front of the camera, it has been more on a supporting character, or just the mere attraction to its male and female audience. And behind the camera, it has been subjected to perhaps work like a costume designer or makeup artist or a production assistant. But today, I see, we all can see more of a revolution. Women, I think, more with feminist movements coming up and a push towards equality and acceptance, involvement. It has opened doors for women to come in as lead roles, or for filmmakers to make it on a female-led movie, which has, I think, in a way, also made a success at box office, giving or assuring its producers that a woman can hold its ground on that forefront. And also, I think, let's take Sri Lanka. How many female directors do you know? Film directors do you know? The leading lady, Mrs. Sumitra Pires, late Mrs. Sumitra Pires, and perhaps one or two more names, Inoka Satyangani, and I think that kind of concludes it. And that's so sad. Why don't we get involved more? It's the insecurity that has been created in an industry that is dominated by men. But with the current changes in the film or storytelling coming not only to theaters, not only to television, but simply to your mobile phone, and the changes being anyone can tell their story on a changing world where the computers, the phones have kind of replaced what used to be only subjected to filmmakers and television producers. So I think with all the changes, the flow is open. It is the mindset. Like I said, I mean, I listened to that and the earlier speaker. It's the mindset that needs to change. The mindset of the women, that they are capable of saying their opinion, stating what they feel, and being confident of what they are producing. So I believe with the new change of everything that is revolving, like I think it is coming to a computerized generation, and I think that would, in a way forward, I think women can play and will play a more significant and a more meaningful expression of what they are going through and their emotions. Thank you.
I would kindly request Ms. Ramani Fernando to kindly come forward.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody, and thank you so much, Sabrina, for inviting me with all these distinguished guests. I feel honored, really. So, okay, I'm going to, I think your question was very long, okay? Anyway, okay, so I think I have to divide into two sections, and the first is you never try to hide yourself with makeup. Makeup is only used to enhance your beauty. And the second one, I would say, as a professional, it's very important for us as professionals to know what's happening internationally, where products and where techniques are concerned. And my quest has always been to bring those trends to suit the Asian woman and man. So I'm not talking only about makeup here. I just love the saying or the statement that the best foundation you can wear is a healthy and a glowing skin. So to do this, we have tried our best to give our best to the customers where the techniques and the products are concerned. And finally, I would say, if the customer is happy or she feels she looks good, then I think we have achieved in giving that perfect look. Because I always believe when you look good, you feel good. And that's what's very, very important as a human being. When you feel good, everything is so much easier. It can be in our home life, it can be in our work life. So I always believe in that. You have to look good first, and you got to love yourself. There's nothing wrong in loving ourselves, because who better will love you yourself than yourself, isn't it? So I think it's very important to love yourself, then I think you're a better person towards the other person. That's where empathy comes, I think. So I think I've answered your question. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Put your hands together and welcome Shirumali Arasakuratna.
According to many statistics and findings, the concepts of inner and outer beauty are not opposition, but both are considered important for females to gain empowerment. I'm certain you would agree and would be the most suitable personality to explain this.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm honored to be here. So, as I believe, outer beauty, it's about you can go to the salon, dress up, for enhancing your beauty. But inner beauty, it's about believing in yourself and trusting yourself, sharing your life experience, knowledge to other people so that they can be successful in their journey as well, and helping one another. That is the beauty of inner beauty. And believing and supporting one another. And when you have that, automatically your outer beauty will reflect. I believe it's about being more conscious in inner beauty. Because that is the most precious thing that we can carry, and we can encourage others. As women, support one another and move forward. And that is how we can be powerful as ladies. So, as I always believe, inner beauty is most important thing that we need to carry first. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together
Fashion
and
show.
welcome Chula Padmanabha to perform.
Yes.
Padmendra, that's right. Chula Padmendra to bring in the dance performance for you today.
Along with a beautiful collection of clothing. So let's give a hand to her. But prior to that, let's see the outfits.
Holding me back, gravity's holding me back. I want you to hold out the palm of your hand. Why don't we leave it at that? Nothing to say, and everything gets in the way. Seems you cannot be replaced, and I'm the one who'll stay. Oh, in this world, it's just us. You know it's not the same as it was. In this world, it's just us. You know it's not the same as it was. As it was. As it was. You know it's not the same. Answer the phone. Harry, you're no good alone. Why are you sitting at home on the floor? What kind of pills are you on? Ringing the bell, and nobody's coming to help. Your daddy lives by himself. He just wants to know that you're well. Oh, in this world, it's just us. You know it's not the same as it was. In this world, it's just us. You know it's not the same as it was. As it was. As it was. You know it's not the same. Go home, get headlines, feed internet. I don't wanna talk about the way that it was. Leave America, 2 kids follow her. I don't wanna talk about us doing it first. As it was. You know it's not the same as it was. As it was. As it was.
Another banger. Baby, calm down, calm down. Yo, this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown, oh lockdown. Yo, you sweet life, phantom, phantom. If I tell you say I love you, no day for me, young girl, oh young girl. No tell me no, 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 oh, 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 oh. Baby, gon' give me your lo, 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 oh, 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 oh. You got me like whoa, 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 whoa. Shawty gon' give me your lo, 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 whoa, 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 whoa. solo, who you gonna phone for one? When you know I come for one, then I start to feel a bum bum one. But she dey give me small small one. I know, say she sabi pass it down one. But she feeling insecure, cause her friends go they go my light ring go on. Go they go my light ring go on.
Yeah, I know we look shy, but for you I get down low. And my hips make you cry when I'm moving around you. Do it once, do it twice. I push back, you hold me tight. Get a taste for a night. Baby, show me you can calm down, calm down. Dance with me and take the lead now, lead now. Got you so high that you can't come down, come down. Don't you ask, you know you're allowed, allowed. When it's you, I can't say no. Oh, 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 oh. Baby, give me low. Oh, 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 oh. You got me like oh, 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 oh.
Shawty gon' give me a lo 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 oh, 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 oh. As I reach my house, I see me got a small wall. As me I wake up, now she did my mind don't walk. Then one day two, one of you folk go was. Now so me I go down, see me willing go walk.
Got my hand on your heart now, I can feel it race. If I leave, then you say you can never love again. Wanna give you it all, but can't promise that I'll stay. And that's a risk you take.
Baby, calm down, calm down. Yo, this your body, it puts in my heart for lockdown, oh lockdown. Yo, you sweet life, phantom, phantom. If I tell you say I love you, no day for me, young girl, oh young girl. No, tell me no, 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 oh, 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 oh. Baby, come give me your lo, 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 oh, 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 oh. You got me like oh, 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 oh. Shawty, come give me your lo, 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 oh, 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 oh.
If you wanna run away with me, I know a galaxy and I can take you for a ride. I had a premonition that we fell into a rhythm where the music don't stop for life. Glitter in the sky, glitter in my eyes, shining just the way you like. If you're feeling like you need a little bit of company, you met me at the perfect time. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you. Moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. I believe that you're for me. I feel it in our energy. I see us written in the stars. We can go wherever, so let's do it now or never, baby. Nothing's ever, ever too far. Glitter in the sky, glitter in our eyes, shining just the way we are. I feel like we're forever every time we get together, but whatever, let's get lost on Mars. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. So you can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. So you can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love is like a rocket, watch it blast off. And I'm feeling so electric, dance on off. And even if I wanted to, I can't stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love is like a rocket, watch it blast off. And I'm feeling so electric, dance my ass off. And even if I wanted to, I can't stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. I got you, moonlight. need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. You can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. You can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, moonlight. You're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight. You're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating.
Spent 24 hours, I need more hours with you. We spent the weekend getting even. Ooh. We spent the late nights making things right between us. But now it's all good, babe. Roll that backward, babe, and play me close. Cause girls like you run around with guys like me till sundown. When I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like you love fun and yeah, me do what I want. When I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you. I spent last night on the
We sincerely thank Chula Padmendra for doing this beautiful fashion show, and we extend our thank you to the designer Melanie Ranasinghe.
We spent the daylight trying to make things right between us.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Sabrina mentioned, yes, we are going to have an entertainment segment right now on this show. Yes, put your hands together and welcome Ashen Gunaratna to give you Have I Told You Lately?
My name is Ashen, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here at this very informative session. So I would like to thank SLBC and also Sabrina for inviting me. And this would also be my first time performing after a fashion show, which was actually a nice touch, but it kind of exposes me as to how underdressed I am. But I hope the song I will be singing can compensate for that. It's called Have I Told You Lately, and it's sung by Rod Stewart. So sit back and enjoy.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? You fill my heart with gladness and take away all my sadness. Yes, my troubles, that's what you do. In the morning sun and all its glory, it's the day with hope and comfort too. You fill my life with laughter, and somehow you make it better. Yes, my troubles, that's what you do. And there's a love that's divine, and it's yours and it's mine, like the sun. And at the end of the day, we should give thanks and pray to the one, to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? my heart with gladness and take away all my sadness. Yes, my troubles, that's what you do. There's a love that's divine, and it's yours and it's mine, like the sun. And at the end of the day, we should give thanks and pray to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? Fill my heart with gladness and take away all my sadness. Yes, my troubles, that's what you do. You fill my heart with gladness and take away all my sadness. Yes, my troubles, that's what you do. You fill my heart with gladness and take away all my sadness. Yes, my troubles, that's what you do.
Thank you so much for having me, and I would like to thank Mr. Pradeep for helping me set this up. Have a good day, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, up next we are here to invite a very important personality together with a troupe to perform a Latin dance at this occasion. Put your hands together and welcome those troupe.
Lately you have been asking me if all my words are true. Don't you know I'll do anything for you? Sometimes I haven't been good to you. Sometimes I made you cry. I'm sorry for everything, but I promise you, girl, I promise you this. When the blue night is over my face, on the dark side of the world in space, when I'm all alone with the stars above, you are the one
very, very final question, because education is one of the keys to improving the lives of women and girls. Isn't it so, Mother Fernando? How do you see the females' involvement in contributing towards the educational sector?
Okay, thank you, Sabrina, for inviting me. Among these, very distinguished guest. I don't know what I can tell here because I'm very junior in this field. My life started as a project manager. So imagine a project manager, me in my 20s, wearing a helmet and going to a construction site, climbing a tower and installing antennas. I was in my 20s. Those days, this is in 2000, early 2000 or late 1990s. I was in Melbourne at Ericsson, Australia. So that was my first job. And when I went to New Jersey to see for my work meetings once, and my own cousin, who is a project manager, about 40 years old, and Madhu, how did you become a project manager at Ericsson? Yeah, so that was like challenging question. I asked why, what's wrong with me? Because I'm so tiny, I was like half the size of this, and in my 20s, and they asked me how. Because I said I had to go to the site and look at the things, how it's happening, some new technologies there, and I had to check that. I said, wow. He didn't believe me. I don't know whether he wanted to believe like I got a good job by working hard. So I left it at that time. Today, when my cousin comes here to Sri Lanka, say, okay, Madhu, we know what you are doing because you are still in project management. So my whole life was like that. I have passion for project management, a traditionally male-driven role, even today. So when I say I'm a project manager, okay. So what do you do? Construction, IT? No, I say everything. I do consulting. It could be anything, not only IT. IT is still, they say, I say, okay, you will sit behind a desk and do some coding or something like that. You are allowed to do that. But to climb the towers and install telecom antennas, still they can't believe this. So very less construction project managers here. Even engineering field, IT field, very less women come into the front. I think like Dan said, it's like mainly self-limiting belief. A lot of self-limiting belief. I never had that. When people go to Australia, they say, oh, it's discriminating. I can't go there. I walk on the streets and I had more foreign friends than Sri Lankan. I was living in East Melbourne, just in front of office, like a Fitzroy Garden. And I was in Hawthorne. There are no Sri Lankans in those areas. But, it's all in your mind. As a woman or a man, it doesn't matter what you do, where you are, in the world, it's just in our mind. Nothing else, like Dan said, I always believe in that. So we have to break this barrier in our mind, not the external barriers. Internally, what we believe in. So we have to believe in ourselves. I was 24 or something when I became project manager. I was a management trainee working in the, doing small things for people, copying tender documents and things like that. And a manager came and said, Danny at me, he's in my LinkedIn, still connected. Said, Madhu, you are good for project management. Go to Broadmeadows, little bit far away from Melbourne city centre, where I was. I said, no, I can't move to Brody. No, Madhu, go. I went there, and since that day, I never lost confidence in myself. Even I go through very tough times in life. In Sri Lanka, especially, life is not easy. But every time I go down, I get up. The resilience, maintain that. And it's really important. So we have to teach these values to our children. I have 3 kids now. So I see a little bit of me in them. And I'm proud about it because, I know one day they will go to the market, go to the industry, go to the corporate world and do something good. So that's there. And we have to encourage our children. So my message through education, we have to encourage children. We have to encourage everybody because my children also will leave the country. I'm so sorry to say that. They will leave the country. But in Sri Lanka, 99% people, they cannot leave the country. So we have to go out. I love what Shiroshi is doing. And Shiro, you are there. I didn't know you were hiding there. Yes. And there are many women out there, what you said, amazing. Listen to so beautiful stories. Let's go out to the world, Sri Lanka and rural areas, everywhere. Pass the message. And ensure we build a, amazing, strong network of women in our country who can take the country forward. I think that's enough for today, right? Okay.
Let's extend our hands to the rural areas. And of course, let's take care of them. Let's understand their needs. And let's extend our fullest support to enhance and empower the rural women. That is an important message that Dr. Chula, really. Addressing on the educational scenario in Sri Lanka, he gave that important speech. Once again, Doctor, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, up next, it's our duty just to check your luck today, indeed. Yes, it's going to be a raffle draw, but we are going to perform here. And you have, I believe that all of you have inserted your business cards, so those who don't have business cards, of course, you can write it and insert it. Yes, I can see some late entries as well. So I call upon the Director General of SLBC, Mr. Nalin Nisanka, to pick the lucky winners and to accompany our Director General, Mr. Nalin Nisanka. Mr. Dayan, yes, I call upon you as well, because two men are here to bring the surprise on this 11th hours special edition. Yes, Mr. Dayan. Here we go with the lucky winners. Yes, let's shake the ball container. All right. Yes, here we go. The first lucky recipient of the award, Sivalatha. Yes, Sivalatha, are you there? What an interesting personality you are there. Congratulations, Sabrina. Sivalatha, you're walking away with the right now. And we extend our thanks to the two personalities who really gave away this thing. And we extend our thanks to our Director General and, of course, Dan as well. It's time for me to take a little time to extend our thanks, delivering the word of thanks on behalf of the entire team, indeed, who organized this. And first of all, yes, we extend our thanks to SLBC Chairman and Director General and the staff of marketing who are extensively giving their cooperations to make this event a successful one. And for 11th hour program, Sabrina, yes, you deserve the big thanks right now. And in the meantime, you made it a very, very successful event through the most important connectivity that you had. And of course, they responded very positively to make this event a successful one. Particularly, Gomez, Sangeeta, Ramani, Adisha, Maria Antonia, Caroline Jury, Danushka, Senara, Zahara, Asitha, Mahesha, Zerozi, and Dr. Madhu. And of course, the technical team over here bringing lovely cooperation to make this event a successful one. We extend our thanks to Sada TV as well, who are really broadcasting and telecasting this program due course in their television network. And in the meantime, on 8th, the World's Women's Day will feature on our airwaves, SLBC Radio Sri Lanka airwaves, this program, and the time yet to be known, and of course, and we do extend our thanks to each and every participant who really encouraged us, honored us by being your presence over here. And particularly, Apsara Javadana, we extend our thanks to you, because if not for you, that is really, really a big nightmare for us. And of course, once again, we extend our thanks to Apsara. And supportive team, including all the SLBC staff and system operating technical officers over here. And we have not forgotten, particularly, Dominic Pereira and Indrani Sinanayaka, who are really always behind us in our every efforts as long as Radio Sri Lanka brings an event. So, the 11th hour, the special edition that focused on the lady leaders of 2023, inclining to the world's International Women's Day celebration, comes to an end in this format. Thank you very much for your participation, ladies and gentlemen.